And welcome to the Sportscast, March 6, 2019. If you haven't yet, please subscribe in all our channels, YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, and iTunes. And if you're on iTunes, please leave a rating and review. It will help us out tremendously. And don't forget to check out the latest news on the sportscast.net. NFL Combine 2019 this past weekend. This is our recap show number 2. And we're going to go through the lens of the SEC with Justin Riley. Justin, welcome back to the Sportscast.
Glad to be here, man. Haven't been on as much as I normally am accustomed, but I've been busy in other areas, like got our Twitter account blazing, got our Instagram account going pretty strong. So I've been putting a lot of focus on that, and then also I've been focusing on some Alabama basketball, even though I really have no reason to, because they're going to be NIT bound.
The Sportscast. Give us a quick Twitter update. What have you been seeing? What type of buzz have you been seeing in the Twitter?
Well, right now, of course, Antonio Brown is still dominating a lot of the timeline speculations as to where he's going to be. Talks about him going to the Raiders.
Which I heard Friday it's going to happen. They're going to trade him by Friday.
We'll see. I really don't. I think one of his objectives was to be on a team that was a contender. If I'm not mistaken, at some point during his rant, I think he said something about it.
And the Raiders are not contenders.
No, not even in the least. Another thing too, the Raiders really don't need drama coming to their team. As a matter of fact, Gruden has spent a lot of time and a lot of effort getting rid of that. They already had one diva over there, Marshawn Lynch, causing nothing but negativity and distraction and drama, and then they're going to possibly consider bringing Antonio Brown in. So what makes them think that this nonsense is going to stop once he gets out of Pittsburgh and into Oakland?
What other options have been hearing that he can go to? Are the Patriots a possibility, or they don't want to trade anyone within the AFC?
Well, I think that the Steelers don't want to trade with anyone within the AFC because they don't want to have to go against him. If you put aside the circus that he is on the stat sheet, he's one of the top receivers in the game right now. So you don't want to have to compete against that if you don't have to. So that's one train of thought. But I feel like if anyone has any chance of managing the chaos that is Brown, it would be Belichick and the Patriots.
Yeah, they can handle that.
And that's the only I guess quote line tamer in any of the organizations that has a shot to putting a stop to all this.
Let me name a team here, which I can see him going to, but it might cost them a lot of money. The Dallas Cowboys.
They have the pockets to do it, but I just don't think that it would be a good situation. And again, you don't want the negativity coming in. And I feel like they're going to be piecing together what they need to make Dallas a playoff contender next year. I think Amari Cooper is the alpha receiver of that bunch, and I don't think you need another bull in the ring to add to it.
But I've always heard they need a second option. They're saying
they
Amari's
do need
not enough.
Well, it's not that he's not enough. It's just he needs someone to take pressure off of him.
Yeah.
And maybe with the addition of their all-time great tight end coming back out of retirement, he could be that option. But if you're a year out of the league, man, it's hard to kind of get back to that league speed and into that grind. It's going to take a little bit for him to develop. So he might not be as productive as we are accustomed, but I think you can find another good, solid number 2 receiver out there just without all the baggage.
You don't think Beasley is enough for that number 2 option?
I think he's okay. I think he's good. But is he enough to really draw defenses away from Cooper? Is he that much of a threat? And I mean, he's had some good seasons. He's been productive, but when I'm thinking threats, he's not the first name that comes to my mind.
That's something that we have to take a look at. Obviously, Amari Cooper will probably make the news, like top headline on Friday. So we'll definitely keep you guys updated on the Sportscast, thesportscast.net, and of course on Twitter on the Sportscast1. NFL Combine, Justin. What did you see besides Metcalf?
Besides Metcalf, well, it's kind of hard to look past Metcalf. I mean, you come in there, and at his height, his weight, he runs like a freaking ball out of like Michael Johnson, and just blazed through the 40. Had incredible vertical leap, just about cleared the building. So it was, and then he had 27 reps at 225, and that's a wide receiver, man. That's pretty dang impressive. However, like Tyler mentioned in the previous cast, he wasn't so great in the individual drills. The change of direction, the agility measurements. Matter of fact, was kind of slow in the cones, and that's really where you make your living in the NFL. Is being able to run routes, being able to stop on a dime, be able to readjust, throw people off. It's not all running a 40 all game and just running a post route. You're not going to be able to do that. So your intermediate game is very important. And if you don't have that, it doesn't matter if you can just take off, because I mean that can be stopped.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's more than the 40. Obviously, that was the biggest news of this weekend. Was Metcalf, of course, is 1.8 body fat, which is unbelievable. But can he perform? Do you think he'll make the first round? Do you think he'll get picked for in the first round?
I think he'll be a first-round guy. And the thing is, when it comes to the draft, everybody just oohs and ahs over the 40s. The vertical leaps, the pretty stuff, I guess you should say. And a lot of this decision making is based off of those things. And you don't look at the picture as a whole. So yeah, we get enamored by those things.
Now, a person like Kyler Murray did not have good combine, but would that affect the draft order for him?
Well, Kyler Murray didn't really do anything in the combine. He showed up, he got his measurements, he answered some questions. Matter of fact, reports coming out very badly. He really was not impressive at all, and really got rained by a lot of experts, a lot of scouts. And did not help his case by not competing in any of the events.
Wow. So
in my mind, competing in those events really would have helped out. Yeah, it was great that he measured 5'10". Woo! I mean, that's not...
He was not 5'9", as we all thought he was.
Well, it's still short. And, and he weighs 206 pounds as opposed to 190 pounds. Okay, good. He gained some weight. But what can he do with the intangibles? What about the other areas?
Do you think he'll be a first-round top 10 pick?
Only because of the hype, and he's getting hyped up so much, and a lot of people really want to buy into the hype, and the media is trying to get all the viewers and the audience to buy into, and and the thing is, the owners and the GMs and the coaches are going to buy into it too, unless some of them kind of sit there and think logically. Hey, wait a minute, he wasn't able to answer these questions, to the best of our liking. He didn't compete in the other events, so we really don't know what else he can do in those events. They just have to go by tape,
right.
And tape can make a difference. It really does, and I think the body of work is very important, and I think it definitely outweighs the dog and pony show that is the NFL Combine at times. Yes, the 40 and the other events are important, but I think the cumulative effort of these individuals should weigh more.
Exactly. Let's go look at a few Alabama players. Damian Harris had a 4.57 in the 40. What'd you think about his performance at the Combine?
Damian Harris did very well. I think he timed very good. 4.5. Showed a lot of speed. He still needs to work on his initial burst. He did very well in the other events. Did very well in the broad jump. Did good with his vertical. Very, very good, and the agility drills too. So I think he only helped himself even more. So I was very pleased with what he was able to do. And I still think he's going to be viewed as an early round pick. May even, sneak into the first round, but we're probably looking at, day 2 for Damian.
Josh Jacobs did not participate in the Combine, right?
Right, had a groin injury, so he showed up for the weigh-in and the questioning, so on and so forth, but was not able to go because of that injury. So basically, we're looking at some other guys to step up. And there were some guys that really did very well. First person comes to my mind was Oklahoma State running back Justice Hill. He ran a 4.4. I believe that was the best time in the Combine forward running backs. Had a 40 against vertical leap. Did pretty well with the bench press. Had a 10'10" broad jump. So this is a guy that probably would have been looked at going in the mid to later rounds, and has probably done a pretty good job for himself, and may have moved up to the earlier rounds. Being that nice change of pace back and being a lightning to someone else's thunder. Miles Sanders did very well. Mike Weber did very well. One person I was kind of disappointed in was, there was two people. One person I was just somewhat disappointed in was Devin Singletary from FAU. He ran like 4.6 or so, but looked really well in the agility drills. One person that I guess really, really disappointed me was Elijah Holyfield. Just was tremendously slow, and I was not expecting that at all. And this is a guy that I was thinking was going to be a steal and possibly had an opportunity to maybe move up in the draft.
Russ Piercebacker from Alabama had a good performance at a 5.20 on the 40, vertical 22.5. He is a lineman. Good performance by him, right?
Yeah, he did pretty good in the lineman group. I think Jawan Taylor from Florida was a star, and then another guy that stepped out was from Weber State. I cannot even begin to pronounce his first name, but I believe his last name is pronounced Opeta.
Iosa
had a 4.94.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Wow, 5.02 in the 40. Vertical 30.
Yeah, I believe he got his best time was a 4.9. Was I wrong?
For the 22nd, 20 seconds. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I mean, I've seen the stats, but I don't know what 20S means.
But he killed it in bench press. Got 39 reps. Jonah Williams had an okay combine. It was a kind of disappointment. A lot of people were really looking for him to set himself apart from everybody else. Disappointment in the lineman category came from Ole Miss's Greg Little. Ran a 5.3. He chose not to lift for whatever reason. Wasn't very explosive and just really appeared sloppy. And coming into this, a lot of people were projecting him to go very high. And now, unless he has a really good pro day, his stock's plummeting right now.
The best accomplishment was on Sunday when the defensive linemen and linebackers took the field. Quinnen Williams, who potentially could be the top pick in the draft, ran a 4.83 at 303 pounds. Just ridiculous. Montez Sweet, Devin White, and also Devin Bush all ran for 4.41, 4.42, and 4.43 respectively. What do you think about the linemen this year?
Man, I don't know what they are feeding these guys, but good grief, man. Starting out, with Quinnen Williams, 300 and something pounds is not supposed to be able to move.
You're not supposed to do that.
No, I mean, his best time was a 4.82, 4.83.
Was he that good in Alabama?
He was that good. I mean, there's a reason why he had that many sacks. There's a reason why he had that many tackles for loss, because he's just that powerful, but also just that fast. I mean, he was able to run down quarterbacks because he was moving. So it was a really funny story. Before the combine, his agent was trying to convince him to not run the 40. They felt it was going to hurt him.
Wow.
And he decided to bet on himself. And funny thing is that to motivate himself, he ate 3 double stuffed Oreos, and then went in the 40 and timed it. Hey, the extra carbohydrate boost obviously did the trick. But
I wonder if it was double stuff.
It was double stuff. So he said that after that he was hoping the Oreo might notice that and endorse him. So maybe he picked up an extra endorsement.
One team that, I mean, like the one school that really stood out for me this combine was Mississippi State. Was that like the same for you?
Well, a lot of the SEC players really stood out. Of course, leading off, like Montez Sweat, he ran a 4.41 at 260 pounds. Man. I mean, that's close to Javon Curse type ability right there. 260 pounds and supposed to be able to move like a wide receiver, and that's what he did. And it didn't just stop there. It carried over into the other agility drills. Just really looked quick on his feet, very light. Just very impressive. And then Abrams from Mississippi State looked very good too. Did a lot better than Georgia's defensive back. He didn't time very well.
Yeah, overall the SEC had a good performance, and Alabama had a great performance as well. And I guess you'll be joining us for the prediction show next month for the NFL draft and see who will go from who will go out in the first round.
Right. As far as Alabama goes, I was really hoping to see a lot more from Christian Miller. He didn't really compete in a whole lot of events. I really want to see if he was able to be 100% after sustaining that hamstring injury. So I believe it's still bothering him. So he wasn't able to go. He did post a 39-inch vertical leap, but he only competed in a couple of events, did pretty well answering questions. Was really hoping that a few other players were going to stand out. But overall, I think Alabama did pretty well. Of course, still sticking with the SEC, you had Devin White, who absolutely killed it for the linebackers. Ran a 4.42. He had I believe, the second highest vertical leap for linebackers.
Ever.
Had 22 reps. Yeah, again, 22 reps on bench press. So he did pretty well. Greedy Williams, of course, he killed it. And Allen did pretty well too. So SEC really represented themselves well, except for one guy I was really disappointed in. Defensively was Florida's Polite, and he showed up overweight, and he ran a 4.84, and he seemingly got an injury and said, "Okay, I'm out, guys." It's really, really disappointing for him. And then also, too, from the SEC, tight end Isaac Nada from Georgia just had a horrendous performance. So he ran a 4.92, 7.45 cone. He caught fine, but that's about all he did, and he just really looked bad and all the activities. And like I said, DeAndre Baker looked pretty bad. So there's some guys I was really disappointed in. One guy I was kind of thinking about was coming from the wide receiver group. I was expecting a lot from, and that was Texas's Lil Jordan Humphrey. Man, he about had one of the worst combine efforts there, especially in his group. As a receiver, he ran a 4.75. He only got 13 reps on bench press. It just looked really stiff going through drills, not really explosive, and was catching the ball with his body, not with his hands. And that was one of the things that was kind of against him, reviewing film. And a lot of people were hoping to see some change in the combine, but that carried over, to Indianapolis, and just really is not helping him at all. Another guy that I was really disappointed in was, linebacker from Duke, Joe Giles Harris. He ran a 4.75, which really isn't moving very at all. His broad jump was only 9'3", and he had a 29.5 vertical leap. Did he even get off the ground?
Well, there you have it.
I'm not trying to bash anybody. We got some guys I just mentioned who are really going to have a incredible pro day to really make a difference for themselves.
Cornerbacks didn't have a good time either.
No, overall, not really. I mean, like Greedy Williams did pretty well. Now the kid out of Temple, who was a graduate transfer from Presbyterian, Rock Ya-Sin, had a really good overall combine. He ran a 4.5, 18 reps on the bench press. Looked very, very good, and the agility drills, very explosive, quick on his feet, just able to turn and stop on the dime, able to readjust very nicely. If you get a chance, I actually posted on the Twitter account some video of him, and he looked very good, and he may slip into the first round. Some argue he may be the first defensive back taken.
I'll take him.
And then, yeah, I'll take it. And one guy that really stood out to me and really improved his stock that was looking to probably go late and may even go in the top rounds now was Juwan Thornhill out of Virginia. He had a 4.43 40. He had get this, a 44-inch vertical leap, which he barely missed the record, and he had a broad jump of 11'9". That's incredible. He's not going to be a first-round guy, but this is a guy that came out and really improved his stock and has an opportunity to go earlier than expected.
Streaking the Lawn says UVA's Juwan Thornhill is turning heads at the NFL Combine.
And he did just that. So for a lot of these guys, it really helped them out. It really got them noticed. And like you said, it turned some heads, and that's what you need.
Yeah, you think like the big players like Kyler Williams don't need to have a good performance or not participate, and then like the players that need to show, they got to show up big at the NFL Combine. What's your take on that? How important is the NFL Combine for certain players?
Well, I think for a lot of the guys who come from the smaller schools who really aren't able to be scouted or seen as much, who just aren't as visible, it's very important for them. It gives coaches a look they normally wouldn't get. It really showcases what their talents are about, and they don't really, have to rely on film being the only thing that gets graded. So, and then you also got some other guys, even from the bigger schools, who are borderline players and who, up until the Combine and even the Senior Bowl or East West Shrine Game, really aren't being graded high. It gives them the opportunity to showcase their value and show just how good they can be.
Who do you think will be the number one pick? I know we have a prediction show in a couple of weeks, but from now, from this Combine, fresh off your mind, who you think will be number one?
Who I think should be, or who I think is going to win the popularity contest and be number one?
You, Justin Riley, from your heart. Will it be Bosa? Will it be Kyler Williams? I mean, Murray.
Kyler Murray. I honestly feel like Kyler Murray is going to be the guy picked, but to be honest with you, based on the combine, who has the greatest value and has the greatest long-term potential?
Quinn Williams.
It's either going to be, well, I was going to say it's a tie between Quinn Williams and Nick Bosa.
Wow.
Nick Bosa wasn't blazing on the 40 time, but he looked great in everything else he did. And he has great value. He has, potential to be a long-term player and possibly a Hall of Fame player. Quinn Williams has that same potential as well. We know what they can do, and they have the pedigree to back it up. I think that I'm probably gonna get in trouble for this. Kyler Murray is good, but he's a flavor of the week guy that's getting a lot of hype, and I think it's going to be picked based on that.
No, it's.
I would not pick him number one. I would not trade or consider trading Josh Rosen, your first round draft pick from the previous year, for this guy.
Yeah,
I think you need to really
traded. Yeah,
and to even consider it's absolutely ludicrous.
You think the Cardinals really want him?
I don't. The Cardinals are thinking logically. No, I don't feel like they really want Kyler Williams. I think a lot of this probably is press and media. But Kyler Murray, I think a lot of this is press and media. I think if they're smart, they need to just go with Rosen and bring in some pieces around him.
Stick with Rosen
and see what he's able to do.
Unless the coach from Arizona, doesn't think he'll get along with him.
Well, it remains to be seen. He just got hired.
Kingsbury.
It's all new. It's going to take time to form bonds and connections, and just really give an accurate assessment of everything.
One thing's for sure,
and keep it.
The Dolphins need a quarterback.
Without question. But is this the time to do it? Is this the draft going to be their answer, or do they go after someone in free agency like a Nick Foles?
My philosophy is draft a quarterback every year till you get the right guy.
Well, on that theory, maybe you could run the Denver Broncos because that's kind of the John Elway way of thinking. Bring whoever you can get your hands on in until you get it right, because that's about the way it looks for the Denver Broncos right now. So,
which Alabama player will get picked first for this draft? What's your guess? Quinn Williams, Harris?
Not Harris. No, it's got to be Quinn Williams.
Yeah, you're right.
Absolutely. I think of all the Alabama players, Quinn Williams has the greatest value, followed by Jonah Williams, and then Josh Jacobs after that.
Remember last year that it was Fitzpatrick? Minka? Fitzpatrick?
I do, man, and absolutely, and he was definitely worth it.
Definitely worth it. Dolphins are happy. They're seeing the difference in their defense. Let's move on to the Alliance. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Birmingham lost against San Antonio by a point, 12-11. First loss for Birmingham. And I think San Antonio, they were not undefeated, but they definitely showed that they are a powerhouse in the AAF. What do you think about the Irons' performance?
Just abysmal. I think the Iron have the best, one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the AAF. Very, very strong. A lot of good players starting to emerge, like with Massaquoi, a linebacker, and Xavier Dixon. They're really good up front with Sales. Just overall, defensively, they're really good. The only problem is they have no offense. None. And it starts at the offensive line. Offensive line is no good. They're not creating running lanes for Trent Richardson or anyone else for that matter. Any kind of positive gain that Richardson is able to get, he's having to create for himself. It's like the Barry Sanders syndrome from when he was in Detroit. I believe that's why Trent Richardson leads the AAF in yards after contact. But everybody knows that Birmingham Iron they're one dimensional. It's the running game. They have no passing game. No one fears Lopez. Matter of fact, you got defenses of the other teams just loading the box down after down, and so they know that there's not going to be any threat of the passing game beating you deep. So I'm not surprised at all how the Commanders were able to take advantage of that and able to wear down Birmingham's defense as good as it is, and which also allowed Kenneth Morrow to run for over 140 yards against them, just tore them up. Had maybe the first actual 100-yard rusher that Birmingham's allowed. But Birmingham's got a good team, but they're going to have to do something offensively to really show that they belong at the top of their division, which, they're going against the top team in the division, Orlando Apollos, this weekend. And like I said before in one of our group chats there, is that they cannot hang with Orlando offensively. Orlando offensively is just clicking on all cylinders, and they're getting it done. Gilbert is definitely the MVP of the league at this point. They've got great receivers and also a good running game. They're very balanced. But they also have the benefit of Steve Spurrier. So they're going to have to put something together. Birmingham is if they're going to they're going to be able to contend.
The game leaders, Luis Perez had 202 yards. Rushing was Kenneth Farrow with 142. Receiving, we had Wes Saxton for 54. Sacks, Benique Brown with just one sack. Tackles, Benique Brown had 7 tackles. Interception by Orion Stewart. Let's look at the other scores for the Alliance. If I could pull this up, but I could pull up the standings. No, okay, look at the standings. The Apollos are first place, undefeated. Then the Iron, then the Express, and the Legends for the Eastern Conference. The Western Conference, we got the Commanders, San Antonio Commanders, then San Diego Fleet, Arizona Hotshots, and the Salt Lake Stallions. It seems like the Eastern Conference is a stronger conference with the top two, have like the most wins, and the other conference have a bunch of, 2-2 wins and losses.
Yeah, but I think the Eastern Conference is really good. But I think there's some disparity there. I think you have 2 really good teams and the rest of them not so good teams just trying to find a way. Atlanta's a team to watch now that Aaron Murray has been inserted into the offense. They've performed much, much better this past week. And actually, I believe they got their first win of the season. But on the other side of the league, you got, a lot of teams that don't really boast a great record, but they're playing really good ball. And their records may not indicate greatness, but they're really starting to find themselves. They're starting to develop. I think the players on that side are developing a lot quicker. And you got several of them they're starting to really separate themselves and feel really comfortable in establishing a rhythm.
Next week's the big game, Orlando at Birmingham. So, this weekend, actually. So that game might be the biggest game of the weekend for the Alliance. Obviously, we'll definitely have that in the prediction, so we won't talk about it right now. NBA. There's talks that LeBron should sit out for the season. They got 19 more games. The Lakers have a long shot, apparently, to not make the playoffs should the Lakers sit out LeBron James.
Oh, my gosh. The Lakers are just man, they get the most press for being the most inconsistent, most drawn-field team. I don't know what to make of the Lakers. You know, I felt like they have some young guys. They really have good talent, and if given the proper leadership, they'll be able to reach the pinnacle of their abilities. But they just can't seem to quite get it together, you know. And I know having LeBron out.
You think the trade messed them up a little bit? Trade rumors?
Well, I think it brought an unnecessary distraction. I think that the Anthony Davis situation didn't do him any favors. And then you have players on the team, you know, that are possibly being talked about being shopped around and dealt to bring in Anthony Davis. So you had not one, not two, you know, but several players that, quite honestly, were doubting whether or not they were going to be there. And they really didn't feel like the organization, you know, were backing them.
Yeah. That's not good psychology.
Yeah,
you
one of
never
them.
start anything. You stick with the team that has some momentum in it. Anthony Davis would have, you know, got them. Yeah, anyways. Keep going.
But I think that it was an unnecessary drama, and it should have been squashed, you know, period. It still isn't being squashed. It's still being talked about. And that's something that really needed to have been reserved for the off season. Right. You know, obviously this year was not going to be the year the Lakers were going to do something amazing.
They're not going to win it.
You really need
to make the playoffs would have been something.
Well, that's the best you could have hoped for, is to make the playoffs this year, and let it be that, you know, and let these players gel, let things, you know, fall where they may, and see what LeBron was really going to be about there. Is this going to be the platform that he shows he is a leader and is able to mentor and guide these guys into being greater players, you know, like Michael Jordan did with his teams? Because it just seems to me like when he wasn't injured, that he was just, you know, padding his stats pretty well, but you just wasn't getting, you know, you wasn't getting any kind of maturation or growth from the team as a whole. You got inconsistency at best. You know, you had a couple of flashes where you thought, okay, these guys might turn the corner. They had some pretty good wins. They beat the Rockets. They beat the Warriors. They did a few good things, but the bad just was so much and for so long. And then you add in the drama of Anthony Davis. Man, it was just way too much.
We'll see what happens with the Lakers. There's rumors that Luke Walton could get fired this summer. I won't be surprised if it was a request from LeBron.
Well, you know, it's not really fair for Walton to be on the hot seat quite yet. I think you really need to see what you can do with LeBron another season, and then possibly, you know, making some good off-season moves and go from there. I think that he should be given a little bit of a 1-year pass now, but is that what's going to happen? Probably not.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with the Lakers.
You know, because we live in the drive-through mentality society. We live in the win the championship right now frame of mind. So I think that a logical thought is going to outweigh what's right.
Currently in the Eastern Conference, the Bucks are first, then Raptors, Pacers, 76ers, Celtics, Pistons, Nets, Hornets. The Miami Heat are tied for the eighth spot, and Magic is actually about half a game behind. They're also in the running. In the West, we got the Warriors, Nuggets, Rockets, Thunder, Trailblazers, Jazz, Clippers, Spurs, and the Kings. The Timberwolves are behind 3 games. No, the Kings are behind about 4 games behind the Spurs, and the Lakers are about
no man's land.
Yes, yeah, pretty much no man's land. 6 games behind the the Spurs. So the NBA is definitely forming up. The season's coming to a conclusion very soon. So the Lakers have to win out in order to have a chance in the NBA playoffs. Let's go into predictions. I mean,
Let's do it.
Anything else before predictions?
For those of you who grew up in the 80s and 90s, man, you lost a legend if you were a big fan of the WWF/WWE. King Kong Bundy, one of the greatest bad guys of wrestling ever, passed away yesterday at 61 years old.
Wow.
So for those wrestling fans that grew up in the golden era, we lost another big name.
We do cover wrestling in the Sportscast. Obviously, it's up to debate if wrestling is a sport, but it is definitely a entertainment organization.
Come on, man. He's part of the the
AAF,
the 80s kind of icon, you know.
Part of the Alliance.
Yeah, part of the Alliance. Yes.
Let's go. Game predictions. College basketball. LSU Tigers versus the Florida Gators. SEC matchup.
LSU, man. LSU is on a roll right now. I don't feel like Florida quite has the firepower to hang with LSU. LSU's playing some of the best basketball right now, and I feel like they're going to close the regular season out pretty strong as they head into SEC tournament play next week.
Real quick, how's Alabama basketball doing?
Craptacular.
Okay.
Thanks for asking.
Avery Johnson doing his job.
Yeah. Which as an Alabama fan, I'm very frustrated because, I feel like that Avery Johnson was going to be the guy to change the culture, change the narrative, and get Alabama into the tournament regularly, and that they would be relevant come March. And, we've only seen one NCAA tournament appearance during his 4 years there. The rest of them are NIT performances. Same problem exists. Nothing's changed. Alabama's still bad at the free throw line.
But how about this?
They're still not.
He should shoot winning in the NIT. That's that's first thing in order. You gotta finish first, win it, and then you start thinking about March Madness afterwards.
Well, no. We're as Alabama fans, we're frustrated. We want to be in the big dance, and we want.
But before you get there, you got to start small steps. You got to win the NIT. Let's win it,
dude. We've been there too many times. It's time to move to other things. No, we haven't won the NIT, but who cares?
You can't go 0 to 100, Justin. You got to go 0 to 60. Let's win some championships.
No, man, the NIT. Come on. It's just
I honestly
really
don't know who
frustrating
wins those. Who's winning the most? I don't know. No one really covers
I don't
it.
know.
I don't think Sports Center covers it.
Maybe.
We'll cover it at the Sports Cast.
I don't know.
We'll have a special on the NIT championship.
Yeah, we'll have an NIT selection show special. we'll have live coverage during the game.
Yeah, we'll do it. Twitter.
Talk about the battle for. We'll talk about the battle for honorable mention in basketball.
There you go. Let's keep on going. Marquette Golden Eagles versus the Seton Hall Pirates.
Marquette, man, just feel like they got more talent, and I think they're going to get it done.
NBA, Denver Nuggets at the Lakers.
At this point, does it really even matter?
If there's a chance, there's a chance.
There's a chance, but it ain't going to be the Lakers. Denver's going to win.
The San Antonio Commanders is the Alliance at the Birmingham Iron Showdown. Wait, hold on. That was last
That already
week.
happened, dude.
That already happened. Hold on. Let me look at who are the. Oh gosh, I got the page erased.
Oh my gosh, Santiago.
Who's the Birmingham Iron playing this weekend? Oh gosh,
the Orlando Apollos, man.
That's right.
The
Orlando
number one
Apollos.
team in the AAF.
They're playing in Birmingham, right?
Yeah, the Fighting Spurriers are coming to town.
Ooh, that's gonna be good. That right there is an Eastern Conference showdown at the Alliance.
It is. Would have been a lot better
if the Iron would
matchup had Iron come in undefeated and shown a little bit of a hint of offense. But nonetheless, we still got probably the marquee matchup of the AAF this weekend, and Birmingham does have the opportunity to rebound in a big, big way.
If they win, they might,
but
take first place.
If they win, if they win the first place, which is really good. But I love the Iron, but I gotta go with the hot team in the AAF, the Apollos.
Yep.
I don't see them slowing down. I don't see Birmingham being able to match them offensively.
And you're saying the quarterback is not that good. It's pretty much they're pretty much relying on Richardson, aren't they?
Well, yeah, they're relying on Richardson. I just don't feel like Luis Perez is the guy. But it's a number of things. It's not just him. It's a bad offensive line too. And it's predictable offense.
You think Richardson can, transfer to the could transfer to the NFL after his first season at the Alliance?
I think he'll get a shot. They normally wouldn't have gotten.
I'm telling you the truth. I'm sure there's NFL scouts looking at him right now, and they're definitely looking at their rosters. Sorry, guys. Justin went offline here. Let me reconnect. Sometimes these connections go away, but it's been a while we haven't had that issue. Let's see. Possibly his phone died. Who knows? Wow. If no Justin tonight, I'm going to do the show by myself and do some predictions. Let's read some headlines before he gets back on. Sources say Antonio Brown will be traded likely by Friday.
You've reached Justin Riley.
Ooh, we'd like to do a couple attempts before we give up on Justin. 3 at max. I guess you guys hear that. Teams ask Cards about Rosen trade. There's rumors. Boston's Wright suspended for 80 games for PEDs, baseball. Browns part ways with leader tackler Collins. That's another big one. Jamie Collins, the team announced Wednesday. That's one of the news we were talking about at the Sportscast.
You've reached Justin Riley, and I'm not available to...
One last attempt, guys, before we move on from Justin. He was a great contributor to today's Sportscast. But sometimes things happen. Life happens. Your phone devices don't work or the signal doesn't reach. Maybe his phone died, so maybe that was the case. And we probably will not hear it because it's keep ringing it. Well, looks like Justin Riley may not be available.
You've reached Justin Riley, and I'm not available.
Here. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue on with the Sportscast with the predictions. He predicted the Apollos to win. I want to pick Birmingham Iron to beat the Orlando Apollos. The other prediction was, where's Nick Foles going? Nick Foles, I've been hearing rumors, Jacksonville Jaguars, also the Miami Dolphins, but I think the Jaguars are pretty much like the right spot for him. I believe the Jaguars are really pushing for him. The Dolphins, not so much. So I'm predicting the Jacksonville Jaguars, that Nick Foles will be going to Jacksonville, and it'll be a great fit. He'll inherit a great defense, and hopefully Jacksonville will come back in track because they went to the AFC Championship game back in 2018. So I really do think this team has potential, and hopefully they'll be back in the running. Of course, Fournette plays there, and of course their defense, their great defense, which is one of the best in the league. Random question of today is: do you eat cake with a fork or spoon? I used to eat it with a spoon, but now I eat it with a fork because I believe that's the proper way, is to eat it with a fork. Anyways, Justin just informed me he cannot come back, but I want to let you know you can follow him on 12-1 Training at 12-1 Training on Twitter and Instagram. And you can follow the Sportscast at the Sportscast1. You can follow me at Sleon, Sleon, on the Sleon Twitter feed. We cover tech, but also some sports. But at the Sportscast1, where I tweet sometimes, is you cover all the sports coverage we cover. And if you're on iTunes, please leave a rating and review. Please subscribe on all our channels, YouTube. Follow us on Periscope. Turn on the notification on the YouTube and also the Periscope, so you're able to receive the show live and know when the next episode will come. And you can listen to it on audio format via iTunes, also TuneIn and Stitcher, and Google Play. So this is it for the Sportscast. Join us on Friday. We'll have Jeff Farver talk about some NFL news. We'll have Ryan Krista possibly tomorrow talk a little bit NFL Combine again, and also some NBA and any other sports news, because Ryan Krista is a hybrid in the Sportscast. He covers any sport up to soccer. We might cover Champions League, of course. We got Porto beat Roma today, and we had Manchester United defeated PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, surprisingly 3-1. Both matches were 3-1. So really, really happy to have a great day in sports and soccer. And we have the Europa League tomorrow, of course, NBA games tonight, NCAA college basketball tonight, and of course we'll definitely have more NFL free agency news this weekend. So we're really excited where people are going and people are getting traded. Anyways, this is Santiago Leon with the Sportscast. May you have a good day, good night, wherever you're at. And remember, sports never stops. Keeps the go-go. Keeps the world sane. God bless. Roll Tide.